He's like 6'7".
That's why
Next year's the breakout year.
so small.
Alright,
I don't know how that works.
on Friday.
Ray, give me one part of your
On Friday, we're on pretest number 1. And we're ready for problem number 4. This one is one we probably need to spend a little time on. We did not do this on our quiz. We solved a thing that looked like this, but we used Kramer's rule. This one says, eventually, the next problem 5 is Kramer's rule, but question 4 is the inverse method. So let's remember, this was in the homework, some of you did okay, some of you didn't. This is one, the first thing you have to do is find the inverse of the coefficient. So, I'm going to call it my coefficient matrix. And 1, 2, 5, 1. Pay attention, you're going to have to do this. So, here are the coefficients, just like the Kramer's rule. I'm going to find the inverse of that. I need the inverse of that. That's a 2-step process. First we find the determinant, so that would be 1 minus 10, negative 9. And then we build that new matrix by taking these two and switching them, which it won't matter because they're the same. But I'm switching those, right? And then these two, I change the signs.
Yep.
My inverse then is that matrix with everything divided by negative 9. So my inverse of my coefficients is negative 1 9, 2 9s, 5 9s, negative 1 9. Good? To get the answer to the question, you simply take that matrix right there and multiply it by the constants. So we're going to get our answer, this is going to be our answer, by multiplying the inverse you just found times 4/2. So to use the inverse method, you find the inverse and then multiply it by these guys. So, row 1, column 1. 2 by 2, 2 by 1, that would be a 2 by 1. So I have negative 4 and 4. This is 4 over 1, 2 over 1. So I'm multiplying, so I get negative 4 9s and positive 4 9s. That's 0. That's fine. X is 0. And then I have 29 minus 2 9s. So 5 9s times 4 over 1 plus negative 1 9 times 2 over 1. So 20 minus 2 is 18, so y is 2. Okay? We good? All right, now we got Kramer's rule. This was on your quiz. Most of you did okay, a couple of you still don't know what's happening. So let's see if we can fill in everybody's blanks. 1, negative 3, 2, 5. Those are my coefficients. So what's that determinant? 11. So now for x, all right, I want you paying attention. For x, what are the coefficients? I mean, what are the x coefficients? 1, 2, right? This is the X column right here. That is the column that you paste in the 2 and the 8. The Y column doesn't change. Nothing moves, guys. You are leaving the Y's where the Y's are and the X's where the X's are. But if you're solving for X, you're replacing those. And then, if we're solving for Y, again, everything's staying right where it's at, but we're putting in our 2/8 in place of the Y. Did you give me that password or the print? Oh, you got it. Perfect, thank you. All right, so let's evaluate, what's this one? 10 minus -24, is that one 34?
Yeah.
And this one is 8 minus 4, it's 4. So then I write my answer, and my answer is 34 over 11 and 4 over 11. Tomorrow I'll give you your quizzes back after I get the late ones graded. All right, number 6. How do we find the area of the triangle? Pick a point, doesn't matter which one. Pick a point. So what do you want, A, B, or C? A. So if you pick A, then you're gonna go from A to B, figure out what that is, and you're gonna go from A to C and figure out what that is, right? Pick whatever point you want, but you gotta go out from that. So A to B, A to C. Now be careful, if you missed this on the quiz because you counted wrong or something, you got wrong numbers here. So 1 to 3, that's gonna be positive. 2, -2 to 1, that's also positive. 3. Now 1 to -2, that's going to be negative because you're getting smaller. So 1 to -2 is -3, and -2 to 3 is 5.
Yeah.
Everybody okay? Now, don't move anything. Leave it exactly as it is and find its determinant. So that will be 10 minus -9, 19. And then we divide by 2. And again, it is totally possible that when you do this determinant, you get a negative number. If you get a negative number when you're doing area, forget the negative, drop it. This is really an absolute value situation. No negative areas. So if it works out negative, which it will sometimes, just make it positive. Okay, can't even read the one at the bottom, so I'm gonna skip that. Find partial fraction decomposition. Most of us actually did a really good job on this, but there was one mistake that was made somewhat at the end. So 9x plus 17, how does that bottom factor? Not 5 and 1, oh my goodness gracious. There we go, plus 3 minus 2. That sound better? Remember, they gotta multiply to be 6. Right? Now, these could be in either order, correct? So when you set up your partial fractions, I'm gonna have x plus 3 here. If you had these flip-flopped, will you have x minus 2 here? Yes, that won't matter. That won't matter. Just one of them is gonna be over x plus 3, and one of them is gonna be over x minus 2. All right? Now, we want to ditch the denominators, but in order to get rid of them, they all have to be the the same. So this guy needs an x minus 2. He already has an x plus 3. This is what he needs. This one needs an x plus 3. Whatever the denominator needs is what goes in the numerator. Now all my denominators match. So 9x plus 17 equals ax minus 2a, bx plus 3. What do you think? Are we okay? Is that all right with everybody? All right, now I got 9 x's. So that's gotta be equal to a plus b. I have a 17, and that's gotta be equal to negative 2a plus 3b. Everybody okay with that step? Because the x's on this side have to match the x's on that side.
Oh, I see.
Anything with an x on the right equals the x's on that. Okay, so I'm gonna just multiply this one by 2. So I've got 35 equal to 5b. I got b equals 7, and a b equals 7, a equals 2. You work that out and see if that's what you get. Take 10 minutes. Does that look okay?
Are you just multiplying one side? Or one of the, are you stating that?
So I multiplied the top one by 2 so that these would cancel. You have to do something, elimination or something. Jimmy, where's Jimmy?
Jury duty.
He got jury duty?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He really did?
yeah. He's waiting right now to see if he's gonna get called.
You get a boring case, it's not fun.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Once you start seeing,
It's like speeding.
Don't you?
And the
don't you have
jury,
to register
so like,
those?
they like
yeah.
respond.
Oh, maybe it's registered like here.
It's like,
I'm not
it's like-
sure.
I thought that's what I was.
What's his case? Does he know what case? What election?
All right, everybody okay with 7 and 2? Now, here is where the mistakes came for some of you. First of all, the answer is not A and B. The answer is what are the fractions. So when you write your fractions, remember how you built them in the beginning. This is how you built them. So when you write your answer, 2 has to go over x plus 3. And 7 has to go over x minus 2. It doesn't matter which one you call A and which one you call B. What matters is when you write your answer, the 2 will be on top of that because that's the way I set it up. Does everybody understand what I'm trying to say here? That's the answer. And you gotta have them lined up correctly. Sure. All right, next, sketch. All right, here we go. Tell me what you know about this sketch.
The wires is.
Wires up this what?
Oh, you gotta factor horizontal.
We have a horizontal axis asymptote at 3/2, is that what you meant?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we know that because of this right here. Where's our vertical asymptote? At 2. Because vertical asymptotes make the denominator 0. So our vertical's at 2. Goodness gracious. What about, okay, no holes, nothing cancels. What about, intercepts? What happens if I plug in 0?
We got 3 for the
-3 is my x-intercept because that's what makes a 0. That gives me 0. If I plug in -3, I get 0. And if I let x be 0, I'm at -9/4. If you're not sure where those points come from, it's time to get that figured out. X-intercepts make the fraction equal 0. So the numerator has to be 0. Y-intercepts come from plugging in 0 for the x's. Now, based on that, hopefully, you see this. You see that? And that's your answer.
Have you get to the top right one?
It
just mirrors it just mirrors
it can't cross the axis, so it has to.
How did you get the x-intercept?
Makes the numerator 0.
Okay.
What makes the fraction 0?
Oh, that's-
The
oh,
top
I
has to
gotcha.
equal 0.
Yeah.
All right, boys and girls, now our word problem. So this is how it's gonna look on test day. This kind of, everything kind of in place here for you. So while I'm trying to get the thing drawn, start filling in your chart. Where do the 4 and 11 and 100 go?
Minimum daily need.
That's the minimum daily need. So the minimum daily needs for him. Is that what's okay to everybody? That's what he needs. Brand X is 6 cents a pill. And I put a 6 there. You can put a 6 or you can put 0.06. It just depends if you obviously put 0.06. This is dollars, 6 would be cents. Doesn't matter. And Y is 8 cents. Okay, Rand X gives me 2 A's, 3 B's, and 25 C's. And Brand Y gives me 1, 4, and 50. How does that look to everybody? Does that make sense? How many pills of each brand should he take in order to satisfy the minimum daily need most economically? What does that mean, most economically? most cost efficient, which means cheapest, doesn't it? So we want to minimize the cost, and the cost will be calculated how? Exactly. If you're using decimals, it looks like that. If you're using 6 and 8, it will be 6x plus 8y. Now, what are my constraints? 2x plus y, and this is important. Less than or greater than? Greater than. Because that 4 is his minimum daily need. Right, kids? So you gotta have more than 4 or more. All right, 3x plus 4y greater than or equal to 11? All right. And of course, that's a can't take negative notes. All right, let's sketch it. Do this one in red. I'm gonna use a regular scale. I should spread that one out a little bit for you on the sheet, it looks like. All right, so if x is 0, y is 4, and if y is 0, x is 2, connecting with a nice straight line and shade where? Out. So all that red. Don't panic, we're gonna get decimals, okay, not a big deal, I have a calculator. So, if y is 0, x is 11 thirds. Which is a little less than 4. And if x is 0, y is 11 fourths, which is a little less than 3. Where's that one shaded? Out. Everybody keeping up okay? If x is 0, y is 2. If y is 0, x is 4. And that one's also out. So if everything that is red, blue, and purple would be on this point, down this point, this one, this one, would you agree that's the shaded part? So there are 5 points, 0, 4, and 4, 0. Oh no, I said 5 over 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then these 2, I don't know what they are. It's your test, if you're confident, you guess. I'm not gonna guess, I'm gonna work it out. So this guy is red and those two. So this is the point 1, 2. Put 1 back in for X. Now, if you follow that, then you're gonna have no issue here. Because isn't this the same thing? Only this time it's blue and purple. So I need the same thing with blue and purple. Oh. This one's a little bit harder because I have to multiply by a couple of things. So, what do you want to do? Well, you top by 25, and then I'm gonna move it a 3. Ooh, 11 times 25. 75. I got 1/2. I don't know. Is my math right? So y is a half? That's okay. Can you take half a pill? Have you ever taken half a pill?
Yeah.
You can do that. It's all right. Half a pill is okay. But if y is a half, a half in for y, then it looks like x is 3. So this one is all right, now what? We're almost done. It's a big problem. Figure out how much each one costs. So if I don't do any x's, but I do 4 y's, that's gonna be 32 cents. If I do 4 x's and no y's, that's gonna be 24 cents. What do you write in here? If I do 1 of these and 2 of those, 22 cents, 16 and 6. If I do 3 of these, that's 18. And half of that, that's 4. That's another 22 cents. So you got 2 options. So personally, I'd probably go with this option, because then I don't have to worry about half a pill. But they're gonna cost the same. So you're either gonna take 1 x and 2 y's, or you're gonna take 3 x's and half a y. Both of those are legit options. All right, the next page in the packet, says page 7 at the top, is pretest number 2. Tomorrow is our last, we have half the period now left, and then we have tomorrow. So, I'd like you to just kind of look down through. Which one do you want to do right now? We're gonna do all of these between today and tomorrow.
7J.
7J. All right, so who can refresh our memory of the wireless of this? Yeah, anybody have a question about this? Over here? All right, so who can remember that matrix C superscript T, a T up there, an exponent, one, that means what? Transpose, and what does transpose mean? Turn it on its side. So instead of -115 being row 1, it is, like you pictures watched videos for accent. All right. What else? Anything else on this? Hey, this is what your test looks like, kids. It's exactly what your test looks like. You're at you all this stuff. So what do we need to practice right now? Anything on this page? 10. What is 10? 10 is our word problem. Oh, well, there's no chart. And I will have a chart for you tomorrow, so let's see if we can build a chart. Maybe this will go with this and see that. So what's happening? Garden Mart is purchasing fertilizer with nitrogen and phosphorus. How many bags of each brand should be purchased? So when it says, whatever the question is, that's what goes across the top. So how many bags of each brand should be purchased? So we have brand, what do we call it, A and B? So brand A and brand B. Now, in that fertilizer, we have nitrogen and phosphorus. And then we have our total, and one more cost. He needs at least 180 units of N. So N has to be at least 180, which means when I build my constraint, and would this be another greater than? And at least 90 of P. Brand A costs $10. Brand A costs $10 and has 4 units of N and 1 unit of P. Do those numbers make sense in their spots? Brand B costs $5 and has 1 and a we want to minimize the cost. And that's going to be 10x plus 5y if I call this x and this y. And whatever happens, it gotta be less than $800. So when I finally get this thing graphed, and I get all my points, whatever I come up with, better be less than 800, or this guy isn't easily a question. Right, so this. Finish my constraints. That 180 is how much nitrogen I need. So what would this be? 4x plus y has to be greater than or equal to 180. And x plus y has to be greater than or equal to 90. All right, so we got a scale of 10. Oh, and of course they have to be positive. All right, so here we go. Let's do this one over. If I cover up x, y is 180. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If I cover up y, x is 45. which I don't know, and 90, 0. Because this is what you have shaken, all of this. If we don't want to just guess from our picture, how do we find that point right there, that missing one? We intersect, we intersect blue and purple. So 4x plus y, x plus y. Did you get 30 and 60 for that guy? Well, let's see. If I buy all brand Y, that's gonna be $900. Bad news, I only have 800. If I do all X, that's another 900. Those cannot be options, guys, because they told me I only have $800 to spend. So 30, that's 300. Does that work out to be 600? Here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna buy 30 bags of A and 60 bags of B, and it's gonna cost you $600. I don't know who asked for that, but whoever asked for it, good? All good? All right, let's do another one, mark that off. Let's do another one. On your test, I'm looking at problems 1 and 2. On your test, you will have a big system like these two to solve, but it will not tell you how to do it. So, let's just count on RREFing it. Right, that's how we've been doing it. When you have access to a calculator, there really isn't any point in doing it any other way. So do that when you solve those two. Which we can do now, or we can do something else. Okay, I'm not gonna be quiet, we're not gonna have a study hall, we're not gonna put our heads down.
1.
One.
Yeah.
Remember, we're doing it with our calculator, so I'm gonna set up the matrix that's going in. So that'll be 1, 1, negative 1, 7. 2, negative 1, 3, 1. And 1, negative 2, 4, negative 6. So I'm gonna put that guy in. How big is he? What dimensions is he? I'm gonna do the second matrix edit. And how big is he? He's a 3 by 4. I believe the answers to all these things are in Canvas. Oh crap. Did you get this? Yes. This could happen tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. This could happen. So first of all, you good to this point. Normally, ideally, 1, 5. And that would tell you that Z was 5. Okay? What does that say? That's right, so Z is Z. Nothing you can do with it, Z is Z. Okay, so this row says Y minus 5/3 Z equals 13/3. Remember when you built your system, these were X's, Y's, Z's, there was an equals here. So that equals is still there. So Y minus 5/3 Z equals 13/3. So Y equals 13/3 plus 5/3 Z. Anybody have a question about that? And then X plus 2/3 Z equals 8/3. So X is 8/3 minus 2/3 Z. And then we organize our answer and say, okay, here it is, X, Y, Z. 2 columns. One of the columns is just the numbers, the other column is the Z column. So X has an 8/3 and a negative 2/3. Y has a 13/3 and a 5/3. And how about Z? 0 and 1. No number, 1 Z. That represents infinitely many answers. We haven't really talked about this, but these equations that you started with are planes. They're like the ceiling and the floor. When you get an answer like this, it means they have come together in a line. So there are 3 planes that are all intersecting in a line. So think of the desk as one plane, here's another one, and here's another one. See how they have that line in common? It's like the binding of a book. The binding of the other one. When you get an answer like 1, 2, 3, they're coming together in the corner. That's a little geometric. All right, we all right with that, Royce?
Yeah.
It's a mess, but it is what it is. All right, who else? 2? We can do 2. Now remember, we're ignoring the directions. So let's write down our, be careful, this has A, B, C, D. So 2, -1, 1, 0, 7. 2, -2, 1, -1, -1. 1, 1, -2, -3, 0. Okay, good? That one, yeah, is a 4 by 5.
like column. Yeah, that 2 you're finishing.
Is it one? Okay, well, that one is different. You're totally right. I got it too. Someday you guys will be there. All right, did you get 4321? Now, I don't want you to think that you can't get fractions as your answer, because you can, right? And if you do, you're gonna math frac to get those fractions, to get rid of those other decimals. But this one doesn't have it. This one's all good. Okay, you sure on that one too? All right, I got time for one or two more. The one we didn't do on the other one, because it got cut off, was number 5. So let's do number 5 right now, because we didn't practice it on the other test. So the directions don't tell you what to do, so you do whatever flips or switch. Just do it carefully, because one of the x's is squared. Right? So what do you want to do? I'll do whatever you want. You're going to substitute or eliminate. This is problem 5. It says solve. Did I copy it right? Yeah. All right, so if I'm going to substitute, I'm going to say x equals 3 plus y.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to take that right there and plug it in right here. So 3 plus y squared plus 2y equals -3. I'm doing a substitution. You could also eliminate the y's. You can't eliminate the x's. But you could have eliminated the y's. We're doing substitution, which is fine. This is a FOIL. Don't be goofy. This is a FOIL. Now, what do you want to do with that?
Add like 2.
Yeah, we want to get it all cleaned up and set it equal to
0.
0. So y squared plus 8y plus 12. Everybody coming along? So then we'll factor it. 6 and 2. If by chance it doesn't factor, you would have to use the quadratic formula. We could use that anyway. Now, be careful, we got 2 answers, didn't we? And those answers are y values. Those are y's. So if I plug in -6 for y, I get -3. And if I plug in -2, I get 1. And those are my answers. All right, so just so we're all on the same page, tomorrow we have an 85-minute period. First 30 minutes will be more review. Turn back your quizzes, whatever homework I've got, turn it back. We'll finish questions on this, and then after 30 minutes, we'll take our test, and then we'll go to lunch. So, is everybody's good? You know what's happening?
All right, let's pause. You might pull